don't get too attached to a specific cryptocurrency. Today, I want to talk to you really about how to avoid getting like emotionally attached to a cryptocurrency, whether it's going way, way up or way, way down, and how you can take and remove a lot of the emotion out of it that will hopefully benefit you in the long term in terms of crypto investing. Now, my name is Rob from Crypto Bobby. I do daily recorded videos on the subject of cryptocurrency. And today I really just want to talk about why I think it's important to remove some of the emotion behind crypto, because I see so many people in the YouTube comments, on Twitter, in the Facebook group, on Reddit, whatever it might be, that just always are so emotional when it comes to investing, and they just get super, super attached to a specific cryptocurrency. And I want to talk about how you can avoid that as much as possible. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I do daily recorded videos on the subject of cryptocurrency as well as crypto happy hour, where I just come in on YouTube Live, talk to you guys, have some beer, have some whiskey with you, and talk a little bit about what's going on in that daily market recap for you. So hopping into the discussion today, why I really want to talk about how you can, number one, why you should avoid getting emotionally attached to a cryptocurrency, and number two, how to do it. There's a couple, I think, distinct points when it comes down to this. So a lot of people that, I've noticed a lot of people will, if you come out and if you say something negative about, not even negative, but just like, not even FUD, but just like factual information that is potentially negative, people will come out and they will try to disparage it. They will try to say it's not true. They will, try to provide excuses, whatever it might be. Sometimes you just need to kind of pull the curtain off and understand why something could be negative and why something isn't, why you're feeling a specific way. And typically it's because you're just being overly emotional because you have money invested in something. And that's not a great thing. And the reason I'm saying this is because I was looking at some charts recently for some of these cryptocurrencies that were really hot a while ago and cooled off substantially. And when I say substantially, I mean if you invested towards the top, you've gotten crushed, and maybe you're still holding on. Maybe you just dropped those bags, and hopefully that's something that you did. But I want to talk in two cases about Siacoin and DNT District 0x, and then I want to talk a little bit about Omise Go OMG to kind of my experience with that. So firstly, Siacoin. So Siacoin was one of the, you can look at the year. Siacoin was like the hot cryptocurrency in June. Siacoin went from basically being worth, I don't want to say nothing, but sub $20 million market cap to being worth at one point in time, over $500 million, over $500 million in market cap, and really peaked in the mid-June timeframe. Now, if we look at Siacoin from that peak, pretty much from that peak, Siacoin went up and really, really crushed it, but it has had a slow bleed down and down and down. And there are a lot of people that I remember, there's this kind of like pattern basically where it's like, down here, you have all these people that are getting excited about Siacoin. Everybody's talking about it. It's the next big thing. It's decentralized storage. It's going to be, it's going to beat up Dropbox. It's going to beat up Box. It's going to be the next Google Drive. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. And the excitement goes up and it goes up and it goes up, and people invest in it and people invest in it. And then there's a certain point where people buy that top, which sucks for those people. But there's a certain point in time where people buy the top and it starts turning negative and it starts going down, and it goes down a little bit more and it goes down a little bit more. And, that investment, that excitement starts turning into a loss. And, it goes from shilling to like, when is this? Is this dead? Is it going to come back alive? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then, some people will hold on to those bags and maybe still are holding on to those bags. Other people on the other side of the house are, sell that, take a big loss on Siacoin, and then from then on are pretty turned off to really ever investing in Siacoin or even like talking about Siacoin again, because they have that sour taste in their mouth. And you can see that price action. From here in the peak, it was up to 20 cents. You can see that price action. It's now down to It was 2 cents. My apologies. So it was up to 2 cents at one point in time. It is now down to less than half a cent. So it's down like 75% from where it was at, it's down over 50%, well over 50% since those all-time highs. And if you put $10,000 into Siacoin, you're looking at, let's say $5,000, $4,000, $3,000, depending upon where you put that in. So not a great investment by any stretch. Where a lot of other portions of the market, did fairly well over time. Now, why do I bring up Siacoin? Why do I bring up, and I'll bring up District 0x as well? Because you can see a similar pattern. You can see a similar pattern here where DNT, District 0x, had its ICO, had a pretty inexpensive ICO, was up to maybe $15 million, it was around $15 million, peaked all the way above $150 million in market cap, and is now trading maybe 2x above the ICO price. But there was a lot of euphoria there where people bought at that top and then sold off, and the excitement around DNT has really, really cooled off. I mean, it's now below, I think it's now in the like 120s in coin market cap, where it was a crypto that at one point in time was in the top 50, or around that range, and it's dropped and it's dropped and it's dropped, and the just excitement around it has cooled off. And you can easily get to a point where, especially if you get in at the ICO, you can easily get to a point where you're just so happy you're making these gains and all this fantastic thing is happening. Taking profit is never a bad idea. So looking at those two scenarios, I want to hop into Omise Go, OMG, because I have a position in Omise Go now, and OMG had its ICO, and I personally got into OMG when it was down around here, when it was around $130 million market cap, maybe $1.50, $1.35, and less than $2. And it is now above, at this point in time, OMG is now above $8, but it's still pulled back off its all-time highs of which were really close to $13 or so. So I really haven't taken much profit on OMG, and I'm starting to, at least, maybe this could be completely wrong, but my kind of where I'm seeing things, I'm starting to see a little bit of the excitement kind of pull back on OMG, and people are, because there's so many ICOs, there's so much crypto on the market right now that people are getting like ADD when it comes to tokens and cryptocurrency. And so I don't know necessarily if OMG is going to, have a legitimate retracement on some of these gains. I mean, it's already retraced some of those gains, but I don't know if it's going to continue to move downhill a little bit more. But I'm starting to look at this and think, did I basically fall in love with OMG because it gave me, 8, 9x, 10x gains? Or is this still going to move upwards? And I'm really trying to determine that now, and I'm starting to recognize in my head, like, you need to remove the OMG fanboy excitement, because just because you made gains on it doesn't mean those gains can't go away. And so I'm starting to consider taking more profit within OMG because I haven't taken really any profit in it yet. And I think that if it cools off, I'm going to kick the shit out of myself, because this was up to $13. It was a $1.2 billion market cap. And now it's down 30% off its all-time highs. Should I not get greedy? Am I falling too heavily in love with the cryptocurrency because it's given me outsized market gains? That's something that I think you want to consider when you are looking at something from a profit perspective and from a loss perspective. If you buy into something because you really like it, but you lose 50% of the value, there's probably a certain point in time when, you look at Siacoin or you look at DNT where it's like, okay, like I really like Siacoin. It's an interesting cryptocurrency, but it's freaking going downhill faster than anything I've ever seen. And maybe it's time to cut my losses and move into something else and admit that even though I like this project and even though it's something that interests me, that maybe it just wasn't a good trade. So I think that's something that you really want to do as much as possible is try to remove your emotion from it and recognize why you're thinking something. And for me, in the case of Omise Go, for me in the case of OMG, I really like OMG because it's an interesting project. I think it has a lot of real world application, but I also like OMG because I made 8, 9, 10x returns on it, but I haven't sold yet. So those returns aren't really, those are fairy dust returns. That's paper. It doesn't matter. So should I start looking at taking some profits because if things go down, if things go downhill, I'm definitely going to regret that. So I'm trying to evaluate that at this point in time as far as OMG. I think there's certain cases, everything is hot for a bit of time, and then some things can just kind of flame out or slowly flame out. Oh, there we go. Some things can kind of slowly flame out, so I'm trying to determine that in my head. Now, I mean, as far as things go for you, looking at things from an investment perspective, I just think really the moral of the story is never fall too in love with a cryptocurrency unless, I mean, I really just don't think you should fall too in love with the cryptocurrency on the way up or on the way down. Always try to remove your emotion from it so that you can make really solid decisions in the long run and be a better investor for it. If you're trading, be a better trader for it. But you get emotions, you get attached to something. It's a great way to lose your shirt or to lose a bunch of profits that you could have had. So that's my overall thought process on that, and just kind of taking emotion out of it and looking at some of these patterns and seeing when something is cooling off, maybe it's time to take some profits or to take some losses and move on and just at least reduce the position there. But that's just me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this process as well. Like, how do you take emotion out of cryptocurrency? Is there any specific way that you go ahead and do that? Do you have a number? Do you have an entry and an exit point as well that you always stick to? Whether that's like the scalp trade. I know Carter Thomas talks a lot about. There's another good YouTuber that I think a lot of you guys watch. Talks a lot about this like scalp trade idea where he has his buy order set to 25-30%. Is it something like that? Do you have another method where you take emotion out of it? Would love to hear your thought process on that and how you go about either investing, trading, doing things of that nature. So interested to hear your thought process there. And again, if you are new to the channel, hit me up with that subscribe. My name is Rob from Crypto Bobby. I do daily recorded videos on the subject of cryptocurrencies. Hope you enjoy them. And if you are around later on today, tomorrow, hopefully you will be seeing I am heading into Manhattan later on today to have a conversation with hopefully this thing works well, but to have a conversation with a team that is actually going through preparing for an ICO in the near future, and I'm working with them as an advisor. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm having a conversation which I'm going to record and talk to them really specifically about like what goes into doing an ICO, how they can protect investors, how they can protect themselves, and things like that. So I'm excited about that conversation, and that'll be recorded, and then I'll be up in the near future after that gets edited. But thank you guys so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. My name is Rob from Crypto Bobby, signing out. Peace.